Limiting. Limiting is basically compression, uh, super fast attack with no makeup. Well, usually no makeup. It's a way to brick wall and prevent a sound from going over a certain threshold. The ableton limiter does just that. What it does is it makes sure the ceiling is like the maximum level that a sound can go through, and you can bring it down to 24. So basically, we have a clap. We see it's peaking at 0. Let's turn up the gain artificially. Say if you have a very loud sound, it reduces the amount, it reduces the gain of the sound with an automatic release. And the look ahead, it basically um, it looks ahead, and it kind of compensates for a greater or a shorter compression. A low look ahead offers more distortion. A longer look ahead gives you uh, more of a transparent sound. But what we'll do is we'll just leave it as is and bring the threshold down. So you can go all the way down to 24, and I can boost up the gain as much as I want, and it will not go past um, that point. And it works really hard. Nothing, no matter what you throw at it, it won't go through. And it's quite nice. It's good for loud sounds, but overall, in mastering, and it doesn't quite work. Just because of the release time, it's not up to par with, say, the L1 or the L2 or the L3. But it's quite nice just to make sure that any kind of peaks you might have in like a synth, uh, it it will compensate the release and give it a nice kind of smooth reduction. There's no automatic makeup gain. If it had an automatic makeup gain, then it would be a maximizer. But we'll get into maximizers when we master. Uh, I want to give you an example of what happens when basically everything you have, every time if you render something out, or you encode an MP3, or you upload something to YouTube, there's already limiting there, and it's limited to 0 decibels. Your CD, the CDs can't go over 0 decibels. It's impossible, and you get something called clipping. And what happens is the amplitude, or the sounds over that go over this part right here will fold back, and they'll disappear. Oh, maybe I can actually show you. See, we'll do that. Yeah, see? It'll go back there, and you get like square kind of saturation-y kind of thing. You don't get on Ableton because of the headroom, the massive headroom that Ableton has. But say if you're mixing on something older, or you're rendering to tape, you'll get hardcore kind of saturation. I'll let you know what saturation sounds like. We got soft clip. What happens? We'll turn up the drive. I'll turn down the volume just a little bit. And that's basically what it sounds like. Basically sounds like a Metallica album. That's just to show you, if you don't limit and you render it out to wave, you won't have all that headroom anymore, and your track will sound pretty damn different. This is one of my favorites. It's just the vintage warmer. I put this on the master bus, and I just use fat, which is the low end and the high end is compressed separately, or limited separately. If you have it at 0, it acts just like a limiter, and the single and multi, that's for left and right, or maybe that's the other way around. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good for kind of just throwing on top of your mix, like after your EQ on the master, or if you have a hefty bass line and you want to keep all your transients. It's a really good um, compressor. It's the most analog sounding compressor out there, and I'm a big fan of it. Maybe I can just show you. I can boost this up. It also has great saturation, so it'll boost the gain before the compression. Yes, pretty nice. Um, there's also tube modeled limiters. This isn't it's a hardware based limiter, so it doesn't actually brick wall, but it does a pretty good job. If you boost the gain, it leaks out and saturates. So you'd need like a limiter chain, but another limiter on the end, more of a brick wall, and this gives it more of a natural feel uh, because of the slow release. Uh, it's generally it's used for more natural like snares and all that, and has a nice bit of fuzz to it. I enjoy it. Now the L1. This is a limiter, but it's also a maximizer. It has automatic makeup gain. And we're gonna get into maximizers later, but this would be more of a hybrid compressor maximizer. You see the the C the maximum amplitude is still not going down, but what it's doing is limiting and then um, adding makeup gain afterwards. You can link them. You can see it's reducing it's gain reduction here. And this would act like a limiter. This is what act how you think a limiter would act with like the Ableton limiter. If you just move these two, release, yeah, you'd want to keep that at 1. Faster release would make it sound louder. Slower release would make it sound more natural and musical. Again, there's no attack or anything. Um, Generally, you'd use limiters if you have a stage between something really loud, like an amp plugin, or like something with a lot of dynamics. You'd put a limiter and then you'd process it, and it generally, say, if you'd have the Ableton limiter before, you'd set it so nothing would go over 0, and then you'd have your plugins after that. So your plugins don't work too hard. They're not processing data and amplitude above 0, and it cleans up the mix. Another thing you would do in the mastering stage, right at the end, you'd move the ceiling to 0.1, and that's like a 0.1/10 of a decibel of gain reduction, and that gives you 0.1 amount of headroom at the end, so you wouldn't get clipping. There'd be no chance of clipping, and it's a very precise way to do it. A lot of CDs, you look at them, they have they're not clipping at 0 because then you get weird shit that happens when you go from wave to MP3, or the lower codecs, or well, not lower codecs, lower bit rates and different codecs. Uh, Generally, you'd want to go 0.1, but a lot of the times, you don't have to do that. But that's just what I do. Uh, yeah, again, limiters. The difference between a limiter and a maximizer, they're basically the same thing, but a maximizer has automatic makeup gain, and we're going to get into maximizers at the end to make your tracks perceivably louder, but not, physically louder in terms of how high it goes on this metery thingy. And basically, that's it for limiters.